You've got some big Zoom auditions coming up this week. We wanted to maybe talk
Yeah.
about that and talk about the Zoom craze as far as it goes with auditions. What do you got going on?
I got a
Without revealing too much, because I know
I have a couple auditions
confidentiality.
coming up later this week for a couple projects, and then so I booked out the studio here. I booked out this space, and I'm going to be working mostly on Zoom tonight, just practicing what I'm going to do physically and vocally. That's pretty much it. There's not going to be a lot for you to do tomorrow, Lars.
Yeah. So for those people watching, maybe if you aren't an actor, one thing that's happening these days is rather than being in person with the casting directors or the production crew and auditioning right in the room with them, you hop on a Zoom, and usually it's maybe the casting director, the director, maybe a handful of producers.
Mm-hmm.
If it was a commercial, they might have some of their clients, like the brand client people there. But then you're working with them via Zoom. So it's kind of the way of the future. So actors right now, like, and we've said this before, if you're not tech savvy, if you don't have your live stream and your Zoom game and your web game up to date, you're losing hard right now, and you're just going to continue to lose, and you're going to fall behind. I mean, you maybe get lucky and you get the odd in person, or you book something from a self tape, but it's usually first audition self tapes, usually second rounds and callbacks have been on Zoom. The ones that you're doing are actually the first auditions via Zoom. So like, you think about, if you don't have that stuff down, or if you have like shoddy internet, or you don't have a nice area to use that you're comfortable with, it's just the stakes are too high, and you're going to lose stuff. And it's impossible if you're a production or a casting director, and in your one shot that you're doing this audition, if you start glitching, and I say this, I've frozen a couple times during the podcast, and thank God it wasn't during an audition, because no matter, I mean, people have patience for that, but really not so much. It's if you're glitching out and your connection's no good, or you're at a spot where they can't hear you, and your dog's running in, your cat's running in, and you're trying to yell at, you're like, I'm doing an audition. Oh, I'm so sorry. My kids are here. They're just going to be like, okay, this person's a walking disaster. Their whole life's a clusterfuck. We can't hire them. So what you do, and what a lot of actors have done here at Laughing Vikings, is rather than rent the studio out for a self-tape, you rent the studio out for the hour that you have the Zoom audition. And so if you have it at 3:30, you book the hour from 3 to 4, and you come in, you got a nice quiet studio, reliable internet, nice backdrop, so that you don't have to worry about any of the stuff you got at home. I know a lot of people too, they like, you live near construction, or your neighbors are doing construction, or your neighbor likes to fire up the lawnmower every morning at 8 a.m. So you can't be doing it. But, and then what happens as well, when you book it, one of our session runners, when you arrive, we'll run the scene with you. So maybe for that first half hour, you're running through the scene, figuring out on Zoom, so you know your entrance and exits. You can figure out your frame. You can start blocking a little bit. You can figure out, okay, here I'm going to come in for a close-up. I'm going to start out at a wide here, and I'm going to do a false exit and then pop back in. Like, you figure out all those camera dynamics ahead of time, rather than sort of being a deer in headlights just for the audition. So you come in, you work it for half an hour, and then whatever time you got to log on to the Zoom, you hop on with maybe 5 minutes to spare, and then you're already hot, like you're already cooking, which is interesting, because the pre-COVID version of that is a lot of the times what I would do when I would have actual in real life auditions, and we're sort of in the studio district here, so a lot of the casting directors were within about a 15-minute walk of the studio. So I would often be on camera, not Zoom, just old school camera, and I'd be running the scenes either by myself or with someone else. And then I'd just run it. And then I walk 15 minutes, but just having done like 20 takes of it. And then you walk in fresh and hot, rather than some people, unfortunately, make the mistake of thinking that you can walk into an audition room and this can be the first time you're saying the words in your audition. And that's a massive mistake. There's no way you're going to be the best. It's like there's other people that have said it 500 times live with another actor. So to think that you're going to walk in and be like, I'm going to say these words for the first time, and my ideas that I have off the top of my head are going to be enough to carry me and enough to wing it. It's a little what's the word? What is the word? Naive is the word. So it's great. Yeah. So you can book people, and there's two ways. You can book the studio to do Zoom sessions where you're using our studio for Zoom, or you can actually book Zoom sessions with us and you can stay at home and we'll hop on a Zoom with you to record a self-tape. But if you actually have a Zoom session with production in a callback situation or in a first audition, then the studio is available. So you can go to laughingvikings.com/actors, laughingvikings.com/actors, and that'll lead you to the self-tape spots. And while we're popping that up here, on that same page, you can join a free Saturday workshop with Tom Todoroff's Conservatory out of New York. And you can attend one of those for free. You can be our guest at one of those. And when you decide to join, you can use code LARS15, LARS15, and that'll get you 15% off. And some exciting news about the Todoroff Conservatory is this time next week, I'll physically be in New York City. I'm going down July 26th I arrive on the 25th, but July 26th to August 1st is their week-long summer intensive. So it's 4 days with the conservatory faculty doing all kinds of different classes and workshops and voice and speech and movement and all the things that you would sort of a taste of the conservatory. And then 3 days of scene study with Tom. I've got my 1 second, I'll grab it here. I have you either bring in monologues or scenes, and this year it's cool because it's kind of a hybrid event. So some people are doing it from Zoom all over the world. There's people in Mexico, people in Ireland and Spain and Portugal, all over the US and Canada as well. And then there's a group of people, mostly Americans, I would assume, with the travel restrictions right now. I have a fun fact about Larsy Boy here is I actually have US citizenship, so I'm able to cross the border as a U.S. citizen. But this is this is what I'm working on. John Patrick Shanley's play, The Dreamer Examines His Pillow. Yeah. So we're doing the opening scene. My scene partner, she's a New York-based actress, and we just started rehearsing via Zoom. And then during the scene study days, we'll be ripping about about the first 5 or 6 pages of it. I think basically the opening scene of the play. So
nice.
It's great. I'm excited for that. It'd be nice to be in New York. I haven't seen my brother in a year and a half. And I was down there. October of 2019 with the intention that trip was going to be the first of regular trips every month to 3 months to go down there, do some stand-up. I was establishing a relationship with Todoroff's Conservatory, and I went to the studio while I was down there. And that was the idea, to kind of shuttle back and forth between Toronto and New York, and then give my agent the heads up that submit me for things in New York because I can go back and forth. So hopefully this is the reiteration of that a year and a half later. But I'm pumped.